Good morning, everyone. Today, we like to continue to present another Web3 website. This is called EMessage, which essentially allows you to send a message as well as some crypto called Matic, which is the native token for Polygon. It's also called Poly now. So one feature is you can send to anyone who has e-name. So all you need to do is type your e-name over here for your recipient. So in other words, this project is based on the e-name project. So see the previous video for the e-name project. So as usual, this is the interface what it looks like. You can connect and disconnect from your MetaMask or other wallet. And then you can specify the recipient's name using e-name. The translation will be done automatically. You can send how much matter you're going to send, and then you're going to say send to yourself or send to other people. And then let me see, let me connect this. And then you click it, then the recipient wallet address will be automatically translated if it exists. And then that message will be sent to the recipient. And you can also retrieve the messages for either the message you sent to you or the message you send out with the message ID, who is the sender, who is the receiver, what is the content of message, how much amount is sent, what is the time. And the nice thing is this will be recorded on the blockchain forever and nobody can erase it. So basically, the blockchain becomes witness of your love message and if your generosity. Okay, so let's look at the source code. Okay, so you go to the GitHub. We have the back end, also the front end. So this is the EMessage website. Back end is going to be just one file, emessage.server. Very simple. This is struct for message. As we can see, we have a sender, receiver, the content of message, which is string, the amount of matter you are sending, and when it's sent. And then there are a mapping from the message ID to the message record. And then there are two other mapping, which is basically the outgoing message and the incoming message ID for each address. So we basically save the same message twice in two different mapping for easier retrieval, right? And the sending message takes three arguments: who is the receiver, what is the content, what is the magnetic amount. So we don't take the e-name over here because we want this function to be as general as possible. So in this way, this allows other contract, not just in the ecosystem of e-name, to call this function. So that means the e-name to address translation is performed in the client. We will see that in the front end actually. The translation is done in the front end, not here. Okay. So before we call this function, the translation is already done. So we are going to double check that the amount of native token, in this case, Matic sent, is equal to the amount of Matic specified over here. And then we are going to increase the message count by 1. So that becomes a new message ID. And then we're going to store all the information of the message in that message ID over here. And then we are going to push the message ID in both mapping, in terms of sender and in terms of receiver. And then we are going to send the gift of the Matic to the receiver directly by calling by the low-level call. And the low-level call will have a sudden failure if you don't check the return value. So we have to check return value to make sure it's not false. And then these two functions will just return how many outgoing, how many incoming for each user. And then in addition, this function allows us to retrieve the message, in this ID, from a starting index to the number of index, number of message you want to retrieve. So you calculate the n based on how many messages you want to retrieve. So this allows us in the front end to retrieve the range of messages that you want for paging, for example. And this is just for outgoing, and this is for incoming. It's similar. So that's very much of the back end. For front end, by the way, this already is deployed over here in this address over here on Polygon. So you have the code over here, you have the read and the write contract interface over here. So this is the address. So and then of course you're going to have the like we said earlier, we are going to have the contract API over here, stands for binary interface. Okay, abstract binary interface, I believe. Okay, so that's API that you need. Now let's go to the front end. The front end is very simple in this case. The API JSON from here, I copy it. And by the way, this file can also be generated automatically by compiling the smart contract. I think using the smart contract compiler. Okay, so the front end index.html. I'm not going to repeat everything. You can toggle connection on and off like before, but the main function is send live with the medic. So it's right. This is a send live form, and then the send live function. By the way, you also specify the two contract address. One is for ename, one is for EMessage, and then you need to load the contract API for each of them during the connection. So during the connection, you connect to the wallet over here. You initialize the two contract by the API and the contract address. And then if necessary, we do the translation of the ename of the default account. And then you can show it over there. So that's how you toggle connection on and off. But the main function is send left, in which we are doing the translation. As you can see, we call it ename contract, which has been initialized. The e-address function to convert the ename of the recipient to the recipient's wallet address. And then after that, we construct a transaction object in terms of from to the value, which is how much you're going to send, and the data. Okay. And then once you do that, then you can call the send transaction of the Web3 object to can perform this transaction. And then after that, you can do some debugging to make sure everything is successful. And then the message will be sent. And then in addition, you are going to, load the some of the message over here. In this case, we only load 10 messages, the last 10, and show at the bottom over here. So automatically, we're going to show at the bottom over here the last 10 message sent or received by the current account. Okay, so that's how it works. And over here, if you deploy everything by yourself, then you need to change the address at line 186. So you need to make sure this address over here, you have to change accordingly if you deploy your own e-name or e-message contract. And also make sure you are matching the right blockchain that you are using between the wallet and which blockchain you use. Okay, so that's for the front end, and then the rest of them is easy to set up. You download XAMPP, which allows you to easily set up Apache or other web server, but any web server will work. In my case, I simply copy two file index.html and eMessage ABI.json under this directory. So then everything should be working. But if not, you can always debug it, adding some JavaScript over here, and then you click inspect, and then you can, look at the console over here to see what error message you have. I think I have a couple of them. I think that's normal because depends on what browser you're using or the version of the wallet. Sometimes you have to fix this kind of thing. So we have to do that. All right. So that's very much how you understand the e-message and front end and back end, as well as how you do debug. And so good luck. Otherwise, see you next time.